Very interesting over the last 48 hours, the conversations we have had. I think you know at this point that we take our sourcing very seriously on this show. And when we're talking about things like the Pac-12, the Mountain West, these are not small subjects. And I think a lot of people often take for granted, oh, well, we're just talking about, cartoon characters, or these are human beings. These are careers. These are professionals. These are people that are passionate about the jobs that they do on a daily basis. That's what we're talking about. That's who we're talking about. And I had a really interesting conversation with somebody very close to UNLV yesterday, who made the point that people talk about UNLV like it's as this person described it, like we're just a product sitting on a shelf at the store. And that's not at all what it is. And I hope on some level that when we have conversations about things like UNLV or Pac-12 expansion, or that people like Gloria Navarez at the Mountain West, or Teresa Gould at the Pac-12, or all of these ADs, all of these presidents at these universities, these are human beings who care deeply about the plight of their profession. And when we talk about UNLV, one thing is very clear to me after conversations I had yesterday. The people at UNLV are passionate about their success and passionate about the mission of their work at UNLV. And I think one thing is very clear. When we talk about UNLV and the Pac-12, that is not happening right now. And when I have told you time and time again, UNLV and the city of Las Vegas are a significant pawn in what now is undoubtedly a battle between the Pac-12 and the Mountain West. UNLV is not just something to be overlooked. Las Vegas, Clark County, the state of Nevada is not any kind of entity to just be overlooked. And I feel like that's what the Pac-12 has done to UNLV in the city of Las Vegas for well over a decade. And speaking to some very well-placed sources close to UNLV, they feel disrespected by the Pac-12. They feel like for over a decade, the Pac-12 has thumbed their nose, looked down the bridge of their nose at UNLV, and really more the city of Las Vegas as insignificant. I feel like people at UNLV have consistently told me, hey, well, yeah, the Pac-12 needs us now, but what about the last decade when they wouldn't even answer a phone call? That's how it was described to me by multiple sources close to UNLV. So there certainly is an issue between the Pac-12 and UNLV, and that issue is respect. And I think it's something that very much matters to the people at UNLV. But I also think something is very clear. If there was an opportunity for UNLV to go to the Pac-12, and it made sense financially, if it made sense from a business standpoint, if it made sense from an athletic standpoint, I have no doubt in my mind that UNLV would make that move, and frankly would have made that move already. But something that's also, very clear after speaking to people close to UNLV is it simply does not make sense. And sources close to the Mountain West have also told me the finances don't make sense. People close to UNLV have told me there is no win or lose proposition. There is no profit and loss proposition that makes sense for UNLV to go to the Pac-12. It is very clear after speaking to people at both the Pac-12 and the Mountain West. These two conferences do not currently have a relationship. The Pac-12 and the Mountain West are not currently speaking in any other forum than the legal forum. They have lawsuits, multiple lawsuits pending related to this relationship. I don't think that there is an avenue currently for these two conferences to come back and have any meaningful conversation about a relationship. But one thing is also clear, as we are reporting exclusively on the Monty Show now, multiple sources have told us that the Mountain West was open to a merger. They were talking about a merger, and multiple sources now have confirmed to us the Pac-12 killed merger talks. The Pac-12 has repeatedly said no to having continued merger talks, which again, I have told you, sources in the TV industry have indicated to us They would like to see the Mountain West and the Pac-12 become one entity. That's what makes most sense from a business standpoint for all of the stakeholders, apparently except the Pac-12. And I think when you look at this UNLV situation, I was told yesterday, as it relates to the Pac-12 and the Mountain West, UNLV has never wavered in their conversations with the Mountain West. Their commitment to the Mountain West has never wavered. I am told without a question, UNLV has a grant of rights that they signed in what was that, October, as part of this memo of understanding that is binding, and it locks them into the Mountain West through 2032. And I was also told that that grant of rights, while it is not effective until 2026, it absolutely locks their rights into the Mountain West from the moment that UNLV put pen to paper on that memo of understanding. So think about what that means in all the grand scheme of things of merger talk, dollars and cents. Does it make sense? It means that no matter what UNLV does, their media rights will stay with the Mountain West through 2032. They would have to pay an exit fee. They would have to probably incur significant legal fees to mitigate that exit fee. There would be significant poaching fees attached to UNLV from the Pac-12. The money just doesn't add up for a university at UNLV who has struggled financially for a decade. It makes no sense, Jake. I just don't see a path for UNLV to end up in the Pac-12.
Right. And I think this whole concept of taking on risk to make this move happen is really the crux of the conversation. Whether, if you take the word risk and you apply it to their financials, if you take the word risk and you apply it simply to their future and what the future looks like for UNLV, if you take the word risk and you apply it to the Pac-12 where they would go, and you look at the Pac-12's plight in life right now, I just think for a school at UNLV's level, there is too much risk across the board to make that type of move. And frankly, if we really want to, get down to business here, there's not enough upside potential currently to make that risk worth their time. And when you think about the situation, anytime you have, financial risk or any type of risk involved in a decision, the immediate question is, okay, well, what's on the other side of the coin? If we take this risk, what are we getting in return? And what's the likelihood of something positive happening? And once again, we find ourselves in a place where UNLV, or Memphis 3 months ago, doesn't feel that the Pac-12 in its offering is strong enough or quality enough to go ahead and jump out of their current conference, incur all of the costs that would come with that process, and do all that for what? And that, I think, is truly the Pac-12's issue. At some point, the Pac-12 is going to have to get to a place where their offering is actually meaningful, where it's not just word-based. It's not just like, hey, we're the Pac-12. Like, it's the George Kliavkoff line of thinking. Hey, we're the Pac-12. We're worth $50 million a year per school. Like, okay, that's cool that you're saying, Teresa Gould, that you're going to be the biggest and baddest G5, and that at some point you're going to return to power status and have an AQ and, be back into that at that level as a conference. But nothing factually speaking says that that's going to happen with any type of certainty. So that's why I say like all the conversations, all the people, like everything that is here that we know about says that UNLV, what makes sense for them is to stay in their current situation and to continue to compete to win that conference and continue to compete to follow Boise State down the path to the college football playoff, because I don't know what other route you would take at this point.
I think we keep hearing the same stuff over and over. From how many people have said, well, the Pac-12 disrespected us?
Yeah.
How many people have said,
but we're not just hearing that now.
No,
we've been hearing that for years
and years. And I think that you have this situation, and I think this right here is a huge question. I do not believe and I will continue to say this, I do not believe there is enough money in the marketplace to sustain the Mountain West in the Pac-12.
Do you believe?
I do not see, after talking to a laundry list of television industry sources at every major network through distribution channels, I do not see that both of these conferences can not only thrive, but just simply survive. I just don't know where that money is going to come from. And I think I would continue to tell you, as I have, I don't believe that ESPN is in a place where they're willing to give the Pac-12 a full share TV distribution deal.
Right.
They simply don't have the inventory. And I am told they don't have the budget to pay $100 million a year for 5 years to the Pac-12. They're not going to do that. And so when Front Office Sports comes out and says ESPN's willing, I got a chuckle out of that yesterday, believe it or not.
In the reporting is the verbiage used was ESPN, Fox, CBS, everybody is quote unquote still open to participating in a media rights package with the expanded Pac-12. So again, and I spoke on this yesterday, right? Because everyone freaked out over this article. Notice what they're saying here and what they're not saying. They are saying, hey, the networks are still willing to have a conversation. They're still open to talk terms, but they're not saying, like, at the bottom it's exploratory phase, and don't know, like, right there at the bottom it's unclear how much interest each network has.
It's not unclear.
Like
it's not, and I this is what I continue to battle, because I was talking to a TV guy yesterday who chuckled at that notion that ESPN, that it's being reported that ESPN would be in a position to have interest in a relationship with the Pac-12 for ESPN television. And I simply ask, where are they going to put those games on ESPN? There's one of the things that I think people just don't want to look at it. There's no late window inventory. It is minuscule. And you look at who's got it, it's Fox Sports and it's CBS Sports Network. And they're in a current relationship with the Mountain West. And again, as we've reported exclusively on this show,
this really matters. Pay attention.
Gloria Nevarez has a very good relationship with not only Fox and CBS Sports Network. As I said a month ago, they're in business with TNT. And we already know TNT wants to add live sports.
Needs to.
And more of it. So if you're the Pac-12, think about the hill that you have to climb. And I understand if you look at the comments section on our YouTube channel and clearly the DMs on TikTok, and everybody thinks the Mountain West is in your pocket. How have I been anything but down the middle on this subject? And I'll be down the middle again. If you're the Pac-12, you're climbing uphill.
Mm-hmm.
The Mountain West has membership already. They're in business with the network executives you want to be in business with if you're the Pac-12. The Pac-12 wants to be in business with Fox, CBS, and Turner. They do. Gloria Nevarez has a really good relationship. I was talking to a TV guy the other day who told me, hey, Fox Sports, the people at Fox Sports have a high level of respect for Gloria Nevarez.
Mm-hmm. Because Gloria is not the one who went around to another conference and was raiding schools and causing all this strife, right? Gloria is the one who was leading the conference that got raided, right? And ultimately, again, as we've talked about so much, the Mountain West has repeatedly tried to put together merger talks, right? Like, hey, we're open to it. From the inception of when this expanded Pac-12 situation came about. Yeah. You guys remember, we like the whole thing. Hey, we're going to merge. We'll give you the scheduling alliance. Just don't poach our schools. And then what did they do? So it's no surprise that TV industry guys, leadership at these different networks look at the two and they're like, well, hey, who would we have more respect for? The person that went in and tried to steal these schools and brands, or the person that had that done to them has now rebuilt the conference and is close to finding stability once again?
And I can only continue to tell you that, like a TV guy is texting me as we're talking about this and saying it is a bad look when you raid a conference and then you go to their TV partners and say, well, now we have, we have the best properties in the Mountain West. Why don't you come over here and do business with us? Because that's essentially what the Pac-12 did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I agree it's a bad look.
Yeah, it's not the right way to be doing business.
It is a bad look. And I think so when you ask me if the Mountain West is in your pocket, bro, the Mountain West doesn't even know we're alive.
Yeah.
Why do they care about little old Monty, right? Like, what I'm trying to tell you is, when I talk to people in the Pac-12, they're not standing up saying, oh yeah, look, we crushed the Mountain West. That's not where they are. We're the biggest and the baddest. That's not where they are. You know where they are? And having recently spoke to people in the Pac-12, this isn't what we thought it was. Hey, you know what? Yeah, we thought we were getting $15 million a year. That was the conversation. When you raided the Mountain West, you told those folks who left with you, hey, you're going to get $15 million a year. And you know what else I think was pointed out to me that I think is as spot on as it could be? An executive, an administrator at a university said, well, how did the Mountain West respond when San Diego State made their pro rata they deserve embarrassing statement? How did Colorado State and Utah State respond? Well, we're going to hold them to those exit fees, right? Like, who were two of the loudest voices in the Mountain West room when San Diego State made an ass of themselves and said, oh, we're leaving.
And this is
we're going to the Pac-12.
This is not our opinion. It's all on Google. Go read about it.
The facts are the people in the room say that Colorado State and Utah State were two of the loudest voices in the room saying, we're holding them to those exit fees.
How dare they?
So remember when I was telling you there's no precedent to lower the exit fees or waive them or waive the poaching fees because they're illegal? If you wind up in front of a judge in this exit fee lawsuit, which again, I don't think is going to happen, but let's say you go to court and you're Colorado State and you're Utah State, and you say to that judge, these exit fees are unfair. And the Mountain West says, well, let me just ask you this, Mr. Colorado State. How did you feel about those exit fees when San Diego State was leaving to go to the Pac-12 to get the pro rata they deserve? Did you want to enforce those exit fees against San Diego State? And the answer is going to be, yeah, we did. And the answer is going to be, yeah, you're going to pay those exit fees.
Now, I know, and this is what I find so rich about this portion of the conversation. I love how people are acting as if the Pac-12 has never been in this position before. Because the Pac-12 has been right in the middle of an exit fee conversation before, right? Let's not forget it last year when we talked about this, right? When all those schools left the Pac-12 and all those schools wanted their cut of the money and wanted to have a seat at the table until the last day they were involved in the conference. What happened? Oh, that's right. The judge ruled in favor of the Pac-2 and everyone lost their mind. Oh, the Pac-2 is getting $500 million.
You guys don't know what you're talking about. They're getting their money.
No, the Pac-2 got what they deserved to get based on the ruling, which was, hey, you guys signed an agreement when USC left that said, hey, bro, you left the conference. You don't have a say in the room and you're not getting your portion of the money. So now that everyone's leaving, you don't get to flip it. So the Pac-12 has been here before.
But what was the result of those 10 exiting members on both sides? When the Pac-12 melted down, it decimated everybody. Look how much money we now know through public filings. Look how much money those exiting 10 members lost.
Yeah.
Not a little bit, a lot. They're in the red athletically this past year because of those exit fees, because of the Comcast overpayment.
Mm-hmm.
How about the Pac-12, the conference? Oh, $600 million, Marty. They're going every year. They're going to hold up the college football playoff. Remember that? Remember whatever, dude who was going on Locked On Jerk Off podcast who was like, oh my God, how did all that work out? It didn't work out. That money never showed up. And they're in a position now at the Pac-12 where they have to win the poaching fee lawsuit.
Which they won't.
Or they're not going to be able to afford to pay those members coming in the guarantees that they gave them, which brings me back to UNLV and the Pac-12. Ask yourself this, for an athletic department that has lost money repeatedly at UNLV. UNLV is not deep pocket athletic department. They've operated at a loss as a matter of practice.
Right.
UNLV has operated at a loss. They have only, in the last several years, the TV guy made a really good point. Is UNLV today relevant in football? And I know this is they played for the championship and they've only recently been competitive in football.
Yeah. I mean, I would say they were reasonably relevant later in the year this year.
But, no, they played. They were in Boise for the championship, right? So they've been the last couple of years, but now Barry Odom left. And so now you get this feeling you're like starting over, and UNLV is always in a position where they have to prove themselves repeatedly. No matter how high they raise the bar, no matter how they perform, they're always having to prove themselves.
Yeah.
So if you're in that position where you've lost money and you're constantly having to prove yourself, are you going to take the financial risk of got to win multiple lawsuits, exit fees, got to get those exit fees down or eliminated? Not likely at all. Got to get those poaching fees down or eliminated? Not likely at all. So you're going to be on the hook for the exit fee. You're going to have to fight for your grant of rights. Why would UNLV leave the Mountain West?
Do you know what that's like these days?
To go to the Pac-12, who doesn't have a media rights deal, is climbing uphill to get one, and by all accounts, has the exact same value as the Mountain West. And I know that Pac-12 fans we're way more valuable. Okay, cool. Your value is what somebody's willing to pay you, my guy.
Yeah, I think that right there, that concept of, hey, I'm a Pac-12 fan, or I'm Teresa Gould, or anybody in the leadership in the Pac-12. We say we're worth this, but TV is only willing to pay you that. That is tried and true Pac-12 behavior for a decade now. I mean, at what point do you get off the thought process of we're going to say that we're worth X, but we're actually worth Y? And being worth less or being worth, less than what we're saying we're worth, not only degrades how people view you, right? We saw that with George Kliavkoff. I think we're already seeing it in these negotiations because, again, you said you were going to have a deal done by Christmas. Guys, it's February 6th. We're halfway through Q1. Like you're behind. And by the way, once again, to his point, what he was just talking about, if you're UNLV or any other prospective school that would even be humoring this idea, why would you do this knowing what the financial issues and hurdles are for the Pac-12? Why would you put yourself in that position? Because again, my simple question to Pac-12 fan is, okay, if UNLV is your best option in the western portion of the country, geographically speaking, right? The travel is not arduous. Like, it makes sense for them that way. But they're pretty much it. Who else are you going to go and get? Like if you look out east, it definitely doesn't make sense to join the conference because you've got all the money issues that we've already talked about today. Plus, you've got the travel. Like, for what? Because you're not getting 12 to 15 million a year, right? And I'm not even personally, my opinion is, I'm not even convinced that you're going to get 10 million a year. Honestly, like, I feel like the Pac-12 is in a position where they're going to have to take a step back and say, yeah, dude, we got to have revenue coming in on some level. So let's take a deal at 7-8 mil per school and see what we can build on. Honestly, that's the position they're in right now, in my opinion. So again, I'm just telling you, if you're a Pac-12 fan, take your emotions out of this. Stop taking everything so damn personally and have the conversation. How does the question of how does the Pac-12 make progress, get over the hump in terms of business, and get to the part where they expand and actually are, and again, I know I've said this a million times, but get to the part where they're actually a real, tangible entity. Because right now they're not.
Well, and one of the things that I really want to hit when we talk about UNLV and the finances, and again, this right here, is there enough money for both? Everybody in the comment section has been talking about tournament shares, and like yesterday there was a string on Twitter that I was tagged in about how the Pac-12 is making all of this money, and the Mountain West is a poverty conference, and they don't have tournament shares. So I want to point this out as we truth tell. These are the tournament shares since 2020. And the belief is, well, it's just San Diego State. It's not just San Diego State. Look at the universities on this graphic. And when we talk about rating the Pac-12 for the Mountain West for the Pac-12, these are all the tournament shares. San Diego State and Utah State, gone. 2022, San Diego State, Colorado State, Wyoming, Boise State, gone. 23, San Diego, Boise, Utah State, Nevada staying, but the others gone. You look at that. This is like, I think the number's $20 million. So this horrendous, awful, terrible G5 conference that's just a dumpster fire of terrible business and money,
cashless,
has been putting teams in the NCAA tournament. And I believe they have $20 million in tournament shares over the next 6 years, I think it is.
Yeah, because that's what I was going to say. Because Pac-12 fan wants to tell you all this is going to the Pac-12.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
All of this money that's on your screen right now stays in the Mountain West. Tournament shares don't travel with the teams. Tournament shares, Gonzaga leaving the WCC for the Pac-12. All those tournament shares that Gonzaga won stay in the WCC.
Gonzaga.
Why was Grand Canyon such a big ad? Because they're a basketball powerhouse.
Yep.
So we start looking at the numbers and what really makes a financial picture. The Mountain West was not a financial dumpster fire. And the Pac-12, the Pac-12 needs to get off their ass and make a move.
Yeah.
I cannot stress this enough. Before we get to the comment section, I really appreciate it. I see everybody commenting. Please hit the like button right now on YouTube. It really helps the channel grow. I think you need to understand the Pac-12 has to make a move, because I continue to hear every time I talk to somebody, TV sources, administrators in the Mountain West, at all these different universities, they all unsolicited tell me the same thing. She's Gloria Navarez. She's not just sitting on her hands hoping. What did we break on this show exclusively? When that conference got rated, when the Mountain West got rated, and they found out about it at the Mountain West, almost the moment they found out about it, did Gloria Navarez lay on the floor in the fetal position, crying and shaking and having no path forward? No. What did she do? She got into action. She got into motion. She called her stakeholders in television.
Yeah.
And if you remember when you were a kid, did you want your mom to find out you got in trouble at school from the school or from you? Your mom wanted to hear it from you. And I think it's a great analogy that somebody used. Hey, man, when I was a kid and I got in a fight on the playground, if I didn't tell my mom and the principal told her before I did, I knew it was going to be worse when I got home. That's damn right. And when Gloria Navarez called her stakeholders and had open, honest conversations, it only raised her level of respect with her stakeholders.
Yeah.
And so she is at the table negotiating a new media rights deal as we speak. Yet Front Office Sports is putting out stories about how, oh, well, maybe, possibly, sorta, could be. Well,
That's what I'm saying. Like, look at like the words
it's
they
wild
use are
to me.
incredible.
It is wild to me. There is nothing concrete in this story. Yet Pac-12 fans, and I understand why you did it. I understand.
Stay hard.
Why you got swole over this. Because it's the first sign of life, a pulse, a heartbeat in your media rights conversation in months. It's been radio silence from the Pac-12 until this story right here.
I might also point out with this story, it does kind of contradict the timeline that the Pac-12 has been working with. Just want to point that out.
It very much does.
The Pac-12 said they'd have a deal done by Christmas originally.
And then it was early in January. Well, everybody's on holiday. Nobody's in the office, Marty.
Okay.
Come on, Monty.
Cut him some slack. Okay. And then the article says that negotiations are still in a quote exploratory phase. What the hell do you mean? They're still in an exploratory phase. This deal should be 5 minutes from getting done, signed, sealed, and delivered. So
now it's March Madness. We're going to get a Pac-12 media rights deal before March Madness.
I don't know, dude.
All
Maybe
I'm saying
it happens,
is,
but
if you're a Pac-12 fan, your biggest concern should not be UNLV. Your biggest concern should not be tournament shares. Your biggest concern should be your commissioner's not named Gloria Nevarez, because I will continue to tell you that woman carries an incredible amount of currency and respect in the TV industry. And I think that the name that I continue to hear is I would watch what her relationship with Fox Sports brings to bear.
Yeah.
Because, again, as I said 2 weeks ago, Fox wanted ACC inventory. ESPN made that an impossibility by signing that extension with the ACC last week.
Exercising the option.
Right? So now, Fox Sports could be a legitimate player in a Pac-12 Mountain West scenario. They have inventory. TNT, who I've told you repeatedly, TNT is a player in live play-by-play.
And my only question is, with all these TV partners, seemingly in the conversation, some have more need than others, obviously, as it always is. At what point does the Pac-12 say, yeah, you know what? We do need to merge. We need to merge.
But again, not my thinking, but a really interesting source comment yesterday. How are we supposed to get back to the table and talk about any kind of future relationship, which I think universally everybody believes is the right thing to do?
Right. Yeah.
Is it smart business right now today for Teresa Gould to pick up the phone and call Gloria Nevarez?
Yeah, I think if I was her looking, I mean, obviously I don't have the information
Think about it.
she does.
They're in litigation. They're in tens of millions of dollars worth of litigation. Can Teresa Gould quite literally pick up the phone and say, hey, Gloria, it's Terry at the Pac-12, your old buddy? No, she cannot. How would you do that?
Well, I mean, the only reason, I don't know, I'm not trying to be argumentative. I'm just simply saying if you're Teresa Gould and you're sitting here and you can't afford the exit fees, like you're not going to win that battle. If she were to get to that place with the conversation and hey, we're not going to be able to afford this, but we also don't have the revenue coming in, what are you left with? I mean, it's almost like the age-old thought process of like, hey, you're in the middle of a war with somebody and they've got you. You're surrounded. You don't have a way out. Like, because again, there's not a lot of options here, and I think there's a lot of unknown with I know there's a lot of unknown with, hey, if they're not able, if you're not able to get a TV deal done, and let's just call it, an $8 million a year per school TV deal. Let's say throw that number out there. If you're not even able to get that done, you're not going to be able to move forward.
They would have to quash those lawsuits.
Right. Yeah.
This would have to be Luka to the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
This would have to be some just unbelievable. I don't believe it's possible.
But I think if you are Gloria Nevarez, this is why I say you're not and shouldn't acquiesce on any level. I would not negotiate with them. I would not, again, my opinion, I would hold their feet to the fire and hold them 100% accountable to what's in the contract with the exit fees, because ultimately you're not doing that from a place of malice. What you're doing is you're saying, hey, let's read the battlefield here. Let's read the room. We have them. We've got the hammer. So if we can suffocate them with this contract at some point, and it's up to them, right? It's up to them. But at some point, Teresa Gould and company are going to have to say, yeah, we lost. If this time goes on. But again, I can't emphasize enough, if you can get some semblance of a media rights deal done in the Pac-12, and then, and I know it's crazy, go out. The Pac-12 is supposed to be a Silicon Slope, juggernaut. Supposed to be this conference that has all these relationships in tech and like a forward-thinking conference. Go get private money to bolster your conference for a couple of years. I can't believe that there's nothing there, man. I don't know how you haven't.
I think this, and again, I'm happy to stand on our track record. I have multiple sources now who have said the same thing in different conversations. We work to pull the curtain back, we talk to different people in different places about the same subject, right? So trying to figure out, well, we were told that TV sources told us, multiple different networks told us that they have been asking the question, are you guys, and why are you guys not talking about a merger? Has anybody broached that recently?
Mm-hmm.
We were told that we don't know anything and you guys don't have sources. And then all of a sudden, other people are reporting it. We told you that Gloria Nevarez and the Mountain West are in negotiations on not only a TV rights deal with their current partners, but also multiple seven-figure branding deals. Oh, you guys don't know what you're talking about. Now other people are reporting that. We have told you repeatedly that the Mountain West and the Pac-12 had merger conversations. They had a framework that would have made it possible. And I am telling you today, the Pac-12, through multiple sources, the Pac-12 killed those conversations. And I don't understand what you're thinking. And I can only think it goes back to what I told you months and months and months ago. The Pac-12 believed they could get back to Power 5 status. And I think they believed, and maybe they still do, I don't know. I think they believed that if they merged with the Mountain West, that would seal their fate as a G5. And here I am asking you again on February 6th, are they any better off than the day they raided the Mountain West?
Nope.
In what way did that help them? And I continue to tell you, and I know that if you're a Pac-12 fan, I'm just the asshole. I totally get it.
Well, and the Mountain West is paying you.
We're in our mom's basement.
Right,
the Mountain West is in our pocket. We don't know anything.
Right.
I'll just continue to tell you. Because what does Pac-12 fans say? We have superior brands. We're on the field winning. And I continue to tell you, do you really think that matters in a media rights deal? Well, Marty, Boise State went to the college football playoff. Let me ask you something. Let's say you're in negotiation with ESPN, CBS, and Fox, which you're not. But let's say it's a Pac-12, if you're negotiating with those entities, how much do you think they care about you being in the college football playoff? I think the answer is zero. Because people in television have told me they don't care about the college football playoff, because who gets the college football playoff? ESPN and ABC. So does your college football playoff game benefit CBS Sports Network even a little bit? And the answer is not at all. So when you're negotiating a deal, the Boise State-Oregon game, hey, we went and competed. We went and, okay, how many people did y'all bring to the TV?
Yeah.
How many? Because, again, I just want to point out, was that game on CBS Sports Network? Where was that game played? That game was played at Autzen Stadium. Who's got the grant of rights for Oregon football? Yeah, it's all of the Big Ten stakeholders. When you play at home, that's your grant of rights. You are granting your rights to broadcast your home events. So I just continue to go back, and I'll just continue to ask all of my Pac-12 friends, what is Boise State going to the college football matter when you're negotiating a regular season TV deal? Very little. It's not nothing. It is very little. You're not going to say to CBS Sports Network, hey, give us that $8 million you were going to give to the Mountain West because we went to Oregon and played a football game.
Yeah.
Because we went to the college football playoff, and I would remind you, you got your ass beat in the college football playoff. So I've heard all the arguments. I've read all the comments in our YouTube channel comment section about how
and again,
we don't know anybody and we're in our mom's basement.
And again, and I'm sure they're in our comment section right now. Again, we're just so we're all on the same page, right? Like, we're way past people saying that we don't have sources or our information sucks, or if that's your take right now, number one, and we're seeing this with regularity now. Number one, you listen to the show every single day.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what we've reported, and you simply just don't like it, which is fine. You don't have to.
You don't have to like it.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't have a problem with that. But I just think at this point, with our coverage of the Pac-12 meltdown that happened, and everything that we got spot on, correct, it's not in question that we talk to people and we have really good information. And it's also not in question that when we tell you something, typically it gets reported about 3 weeks later. And typically it's exactly what we said. So I'm happy. Like, I'm sure, again, there are a bunch of haters, as there always are, but I have no doubt in what we tell you being correct, because it's happened time and time and time and time again.
And I will tell you, you want to gauge us? Here's how you gauge us. Whoever gets their TV deal first is by far and exponentially further along than the other.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember something I said about the Pac-12 media rights deal, again yesterday, unsolicited, a source in the TV industry told me directly, I hope for the Pac-12's sake, they actually do have a relationship with the CW. Because we're not in the late window TV market right now. That is verbatim. We're not in the late window TV market right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't have inventory. CBS, NBC, here comes Saturday night. NBC has Big Ten and Notre Dame.
Yeah.
CBS has the Big Ten. CBS Sports has the Mountain West. ESPN has the Mountain West. I think ESPN is in for ESPN Plus. I think that is what they're available and what they would talk to the Pac-12 about. ESPN Plus with their direct to consumer. I think right now the biggest advantage for the Mountain West is they're in business with CBS, they're in business with Fox, and they're in business with TNT. I think that's their single biggest advantage.
Yeah.
And all those people like the relationship they have with the Mountain West. So there you have it. Enough of us, more of you. Just remember, whoever gets their TV deal first is likely to survive. And if you don't get your TV deal first, I don't believe you will survive. And I know, again, Pac-12 guys all pissed off. I'm telling you, that's from people in TV.
Yeah.
Well-placed sources in the TV industry. The same people who told us Fox and ESPN and CBS and NBC were out on the ridiculous Kliavkoff $50 million a year deal. Those are the same people who told us, hey, the presidents in the Pac-12, the old Pac-12, were not willing to go beyond 50% streaming. for their tier 2 content. All of this stuff. When we were on the show and our source at Utah called us and said, "Hey, we're out. We're leaving. We just signed and sent back over our agreement with the Big 12."
Literally while we're doing the show.
So, yeah, we don't know what we're talking about. All right, let's get into the comment section. First one in is Hero75. I half expect that one or more of the expansion teams in the PAC will run back to the Mountain West when they realize they were lied to by the Pac-12. I don't think the Pac-12 lied to anybody. I don't know what that looks like. Frankly, I've never asked the question, would you accept X team back in the conference? If you're San Diego State, I don't believe that you have a home outside of the Pac-12. I don't know, and I'm not even trying to be a jerk about it. What JD Wicker has done with his comments, why they so publicly slap the Mountain West in the face with their "we're going to the Pac-12 because it's the pro rata we deserve." When that whole fiasco before, you guys remember that San Diego State went to great lengths to let it be known, "Hey, we want to join your conference, Pac-12." And then said, "We're joining the Pac-12." Only have the Pac-12 meltdown. And then, not only did you do it once, then now you've done it twice. And both times, it has not worked out well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I have no idea what the appetite in the Mountain West would be. And I can ask, hey, what is the Mountain West going to say? No, those guys are assholes. I highly doubt that's going to be the answer.
Yeah.
I don't know. But knowing administrators in Mountain West universities, San Diego State has done some really gnarly stuff that I think has probably burned that bridge. I mean, the level of disrespect that San Diego State has thrown at the Mountain West multiple times at every opportunity, I would find it hard to believe you could get that horse back in the barn. I don't know how you would even do it.
Yeah, it's tough.
The others, Utah State's a very interesting example. If you're the Mountain West, what incentive do you have to bring Mountain West? Let's say somehow all those schools wanted to come back. Are you taking Colorado State back? Maybe. Are you taking Boise back? I would think almost certainly. But when Utah State rings your phone and says, "Hey, we want to stay in the conference," are you answering that call? Like, are you welcoming the Utah State back to the Mountain West? Because I feel like what Utah State did, betrayal might be a heavy word, but what were you thinking in that space and time? You got used by the Pac-12, the current incarnation of the Pac-12. And it's funny, UNLV yesterday said, "We don't want to be the ones." Man, that makes a lot of sense. A source close to UNLV yesterday told me, "We don't want to be used to destroy the Mountain West."
Yeah.
Because you don't want me because it's me. You don't want UNLV because, oh man, it's UNLV and we really have respect for the history and the tradition and UNLV, and you want UNLV to wreck the Mountain West.
Yep.
If it was Jimmy's Fish Shop that could wreck the Mountain West, you would offer an invitation to join the conference to Jimmy's Fish Shop.
Mm-hmm.
Not because they're deserving, but because you want to wreck the Mountain West. And that's what Utah State did. I think that could probably be unforgivable as well.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of those universities would be welcome back. I truly do not. I don't. All right.